or tuning in the sun. This is TFM. Get ready to rock. From AM to PM. Come on. Let's talk.
TFM 95.4.
Let's talk.
Live on TFM and the TFM Facebook page. This is the live feed of TTV. Let's talk.
Welcome to the Midday Update and Happy New Year. Let's go over the headlines. Press private firms allowed to cut staff salaries in Oman. Stores stock up on reusable bags as plastic bag ban commences in Oman. Oman, Sri Lanka to cooperate in academic fields. Circular rationalizes increments, allowances and remuneration. US COVID-19 cases hit grim milestone of 20 million on New Year's Day. Indian Health Minister says COVID-19 vaccine to be free across India. China threatens retaliation for NYSE delisting telecom firms. Republican-led US Senate overrides Trump veto for the very first time. 5 Indian players put in isolation as precautionary measure post-outing. BCCI President Saurav Ganguly hospitalized after complaining of chest pain. Those are the headlines. Let's take a look at the weather update.
Hi, my name is Meitha El-Shukaili with your daily weather update. And right now, I'm outside the TFM studio in Al Khuwair. Before we move on to weather, here's our fact for the day. The average number of people that has been exposed to heat waves has increased by approximately 125 million since the beginning of the century. That's our fact for the day. Now let's step inside the studio and talk more about weather. According to Oman Meteorology and Civil Aviation Authorities, there will be mainly clear skies over the rest of the Sultanate with chances of cloud development over Al Hajjan Mountains and chances of early morning low-level clouds or fog patches over parts of Al Wusta and South Al Sharqiyya. With that, let's take a look at how the weather will be like in all the governorates. Muscat will be sunny, temperatures between 21 to 15 degrees Celsius. Musandam will be sunny, temperatures between 21 to 16 degrees Celsius. North Al-Batana will be sunny, temperatures between 22 to 15 degrees Celsius. South Al-Batana will be sunny, temperatures between 21 to 14 degrees Celsius. Al-Buraimi will be sunny, temperatures between 24 to 14 degrees Celsius. Al-Dhahira will be sunny, temperatures between 25 to 15 degrees Celsius. Al-Dakhiliya will be sunny, temperatures between 23 to 13 degrees Celsius. North Al-Sharqiyya will be sunny, temperatures between 26 to 14 degrees Celsius. South Al-Sharqiyya will be sunny, temperatures between 23 to 17 degrees Celsius. Al-Wusta will be sunny, temperatures between 25 to 18 degrees Celsius. And Dhofar will be sunny, temperatures between 23 to 15 degrees Celsius.
Welcome back to the Midday Update. Coming up are the COVID-19 updates. The Ministry of Health has registered 2 new deaths, taking the total death toll to 1,501. The Ministry of Health has also extended its deepest condolences to the families of the deceased. The Ministry of Health has also announced the registration of 537 new COVID-19 cases, taking the total number of cases registered in the Sultanate to 129,404. There have also been 376 recoveries in the past 24 hours, taking the total recoveries to 122,266. The ministry has urged everyone to adhere to social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health. Those are the COVID-19 updates. Now let's take a look at the local stories. Hard-hit private sector firms, under the current circumstances, can cut down the salaries of their employees for a period of 3 months in return for reducing their working hours after the expiration of an employee's stock of paid holidays. This procedure shall take effect, if necessary, till 31st March 2021. Expatriate workers leaving Oman for good will continue to have their labor-related fines waived, provided they leave the country permanently, the Ministry of Labour has announced. The decision is one of the many made by the ministry to lessen the economic impact of COVID-19 on companies in the Sultanate. Companies that have been fined for the first time between March 15, 2020 and March 31, 2021 for errors made over renewal of documents and service fees are also exempt from paying these penalties. It is also now possible to renew expired documentation of establishments which have Omani employees. The incentive also applies to owners of small and medium enterprises registered at the Public Authority for Social Insurance. However, Omani nationals working in the private sector cannot be terminated until 31st March. Renewal fees for expatriate labour cards have also been cut from Omani Riyal 301 to Omani Riyal 201 until the aforementioned date. Private sector firms that have been badly affected by the coronavirus pandemic can terminate the services of their expatriate workers, provided all previous dues have been paid and under the condition that they leave the country. These steps were taken following discussions by the Supreme Committee to deal with COVID-19 on how to help businesses in the country that have been impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Many shops in Oman had to order reusable bags following the ban on single-use plastic bags in the country. With the ban on plastic bags starting on 1st January, many outlets had already resorted to alternatives using bags made from cloth and paper. High demand, though, means many customers needed to wait for more reusable bags to arrive on shelves or had to go elsewhere to find them. In the absence of bags in some stores, customers had to go for other alternatives. A couple of them took home their groceries in empty cardboard boxes provided by the stores, while those who lived or were parked nearby and had just a few things to buy carried their purchases in their hands. Many other shops and restaurants, however, had plenty of stock to provide their customers and were also selling them at a nominal fee. One shop in Rui, for example, made cloth bags available for just 100 paisas each, while another had them priced at 200 paisas. From January 1 onwards, we will be selling no plastic bags in our stores, said a representative of a department store in Amirad. We have made 2 or 3 types of reusable bags for our customers, but they are also welcome to bring their own bags with them. Several outlets in Oman had also put out advisories to people reminding them that the plastic bag ban is now in effect. Effective from January 1, 2021, the use of single-use plastic bags are banned in Oman as per Ministerial Decision number 23 by 2020, said a statement from Lulu Hypermarket. Dr. Abdullah bin Ali Al Umari, the chairman of Oman's Environment Authority, said it was completely understandable for some businesses to take a few days to adapt to the new rules. The government body had been running awareness campaigns over the decision since December to ensure everyone knew of the changes coming and how it would affect their shopping. Cleaning up single-use plastic bags is very difficult, especially since Oman has varied landscape, which includes mountains, wadis, deserts, beaches and sea. He said, most of the waste we monitored in these places turned out to be single-use bags, which distorted the beauty of our surroundings and harmed our environment. Customers at shops in the country praised the state's decision to ban single-use plastic bags. Qasim Al-Shehi from Wilayat Bukha in the Governorate of Musandam said, the decision was made to protect our environment. I advise everyone to adhere to this decision and not use disposable plastic bags. The ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Sultanate of Oman, Amir Ajwad, met with new Vice Chancellor of the Sultan Qaboos University, His Highness Dr. Fahad Al Jalandi Al Said, on December 29, 2020, on the university premises in Muscat. Assistant Vice Chancellor for International Cooperation of the SQEU, Her Highness Dr. Mona Fahad Al Said, was also present during the meeting. The envoy briefed the Vice Chancellor on areas of cooperation between the SQEU and the national universities in Sri Lanka. They also discussed exchange programs for faculty members and students of both undergraduate and postgraduate studies in different disciplines. Promotion of educational activities was also proposed during the discussion. They agreed to initiate virtual interactions due to the pandemic. SQU is ranked number 1 in Oman and was among the top 10 in the QS Arab Region University Rankings 2020. Sri Lankan academic and non-academic staff have been serving in the SQU since its inception, and there have been around 17 Sri Lankan academics in the SQU departments. Mrs. W.D.N.M. Aibsekara, First Secretary of the Embassy, accompanied the ambassador. The Ministry of Finance issued a financial circular on allowances, increments and other remunerations disbursed to some employees of the state's administrative apparatus. The circular reads as follows. In pursuance of efforts to follow up and revise some areas of spending in ministries and government units in a manner that rationalizes public expenditure and optimizes financial resources, and in revision of occupational systems and regulations to upgrade the efficiency of performance and regulate and unify job privilege payments with the purpose of achieving justice and equality, the Ministry of Finance informs all ministries, government units, and public establishments that the following has been decided. First, allowances on increments beyond the deserved salary. A 50% reduction of allowances disbursed to employees in all government units beyond the unified payroll system cited under Royal Decree No. 78 by 2013 from 1st April 2021. These include management allowance, allowance for restructuring tasks, administrative work nature allowance, technical work nature allowance, risk allowance, complementary allowance, allowance for working in Dukum, rare practice allowance, user allowance, personal service allowance, majlis allowance, clinic allowance, system allowance, audit allowance, and any other allowances or bonuses granted to employees. In case an employee gets more than one of such allowance, the 50% reduction will apply to the highest paid allowance and the rest will be stopped. The ranks of employees mentioned, however, will be exempt from item number 1 or the above. The judiciary, judges and employees of similar ranking, occupants of medical jobs and paramedical jobs in government medical, that is civil or military establishments, occupants of jobs in the diplomatic corps at the foreign ministry, academicians, teachers and air navigation jobs. Second, privilege payments beyond the deserved salary. With effect from 1st April 2021, all types of privilege payments made to employees beyond the framework of the deserved salary and its standard allowance will be stopped. Third, senior officials. Provisions of items 1st and 2nd shall be applied to senior officials, occupants of the special grade and above. In serving the public interest, the Ministry of Finance exhorts all ministries, government units, public authorities, establishments and legal entities to fully abide by the provisions stated in the circular with effect from 1st April 2021. All are required to provide the Ministry of Finance with a detailed statement of accounts of allowances, increments and privilege payments disbursed to employees beyond the unified schedule of grades and salaries issued under Royal Decree No. 78 by 2013. The statement to reach the Ministry of Finance by 31st January 2021 at the latest should include the type of value of payments, the number of beneficiaries per financial grades, and the total annual cost of payments. Internal audit units at every department are required to fully undertake their role of following up the implementation of this edict. Those with the local stories will take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to the Midday Update. Coming up now are the international stories. The confirmed COVID-19 cases in the United States topped 20 million on Friday as the discovery of a highly contagious new virus strain in the country increases pressure to speed up the vaccination process. The United States reported over 20.1 million cases and more than 347,000 related deaths on Friday afternoon, according to a tally from Johns Hopkins University. The country, which makes up about 4% of the world's population, now accounts for nearly 1/4 of over 83.8 million cases, 19% or 1.8 million deaths reported worldwide, showed the university's data. It took 292 days for the United States to reach its first 10 million cases, but only 54 more days to double it. US experts and media outlets have attributed the US failure to contain the virus to, among others, an absence of a national strategy, politicized policies, as well as misinformation and conspiracy theories. The actual pace of infections probably was different. A US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention modeling study suggests as many as 53 million people in the United States might have been infected from February through September alone. The grim numbers could climb further nationwide in the coming weeks due to a surge of gatherings and travels over the holidays, despite warnings against doing so amid the worsening pandemic, according to public health experts. An ensemble forecast published Wednesday by the CDC now projects there will be 383,000 to 424,000 coronavirus deaths in the country by Jan 23rd. Indian Health Minister Harshvardhan said on Saturday that COVID-19 vaccines would be free of cost across the country. Not just in Delhi, the vaccine will be free across the country, Vardhan told reporters. The health minister was asked if COVID-19 vaccine will be provided free on the lines of Delhi. Vardhan was at a hospital in Delhi to review the dry run of vaccination that was started Saturday morning across the country. The minister appealed to people not to be misguided by rumors regarding the safety and efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine. I want to appeal to people not to believe in any rumors. Our prime criteria in the vaccine trial is safety and efficacy, and nothing will be compromised, he said. Different kinds of rumors were also spread during polio immunization, but people took the vaccine and now India is polio-free. The federal government is looking forward to initiating inoculation from this month once the vaccine is cleared by the Drugs Controller General of India. India plans to inoculate 300 million people in the next 6 to 8 months. China said on Saturday that it would take necessary countermeasures after the New York Stock Exchange began delisting securities of 3 Chinese telecommunications companies. The NYSE announced earlier this week that it would halt the trading in shares of China Mobile Limited, China Unicom Hong Kong Limited, and China Telecom Corporation Limited by January 11th. The stock exchange said it took the decision because of an executive order from US President Donald Trump that barred Americans from investing in firms with ties to the Chinese military. The move has further strained ties between Washington and Beijing, who have butted heads over trade and the coronavirus pandemic during Trump's time in the White House. A Chinese Commerce Ministry spokesperson said in a statement that the NYSE delisting will greatly weaken all parties' confidence in the US capital market. The ministry said the decision to delist the 3 telecom firms was an abuse of national security and inconsistent with market rules. China will take the necessary countermeasures to resolutely safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies, the ministry spokesperson said, without naming specifics. The US Senate on Friday easily secured the 2/3 majority needed to override President Donald Trump's veto of a bill on defense spending, the first time it has done so in the outgoing president's nearly 4 years in office. The Senate, led by Trump's Republicans, followed the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives' lead on Monday, passing the measure with a vote of 81 for 13. The Senate vote during a rare New Year's disease session is a humiliating blow for Trump, who has only 20 days to go before leaving office. Under US law, a presidential veto can be overridden if the bill in question is supported by 2/3 majority in both chambers of Congress. Trump has been at odds with his fellow Republican lawmakers since he lost re-election in November, after most of them failed to back his unsubstantiated claims of voting fraud or support his call for bigger COVID-19 relief payments. The president had refused to sign the defense spending bill worth $750 billion into law, partly because it did not repeal certain legal protections for social media platforms. Another of his objections was that the bill contained a provision for rechristening military bases named for generals who led the troops of the Confederacy, the alliance of the pro-slavery southern states during the Civil War. The so-called National Defense Authorization Act has been passed every year since the 1960s. Those were the international stories. We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to the Midday Update. Coming up are the sports news. Cricket Australia on Saturday said that Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw and Navdeep Saini have been put in isolation as a precautionary measure after these 5 players were seen eating at an indoor venue in Melbourne on New Year's Day. The Cricket Australia release said, in the interim, on the advice of the Australian and Indian medical teams, the aforementioned players have been placed in isolation as a precaution. This will include separating the group of players from the broader Indian and Australian squads when travelling and at training venue. The Board of Control for Cricket in India and Cricket Australia were alerted to a video post on social media that purported to show Rohit, Pant, Gill, Shaw and Saini eating at an indoor venue in Melbourne on New Year's Day. The BCCI and CA are now investigating the matter and seeking to determine whether the outing constitutes a breach of biosecurity protocols. The players will be permitted to train in accordance with the strict protocols that have been put in place to ensure the ongoing safety of all members of the Indian and Australian squads. Similar measures were taken during the BBL this season after it was determined two Brisbane Heat players failed to comply with tournament biosecurity protocols, Cricket Australia further said. Earlier on Saturday, speaking to ANI, sources in the know of developments in the team said that the players had followed all safety protocols and there was no need for any investigation, as the fan had himself done a U-turn and said there was no physical contact after initially claiming that Pant had hugged him. The boys had just gone out to a restaurant to get some food. They followed all the necessary protocols and their temperature was checked and proper sanitization was done before they sat on the table. There is no need to make an issue out of this. As for the whole question of a fan being hugged by Pant, the fan has himself confessed that he has said that out of excitement, the source pointed. The Indian and Australian team is currently in Melbourne as they are training for the third test of the series, which is to be played at the Sydney Cricket Ground from January 7th. The two teams will head to Sydney on Monday. Earlier, fan in a series of tweets claimed that he had paid the bill for the Indian players at the restaurant. He also said that he ordered extra food so he could watch the players eating in the restaurant. He went on to add that he had been hugged by Pant. But on Saturday, he pushed out a clarification saying that Pant never hugged him, and it was all said in excitement. They maintained social distance all through. He also apologized for the miscommunication. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, President Sourav Ganguly, has been admitted to Woodlands Hospital after he complained of chest pain. Speaking to ANI, sources close to the former Indian skipper said that Ganguly complained of pain in the chest and might need angioplasty. Popularly called Dada, the source said Sourav complained of chest pain and was rushed to the hospital. He might need to undergo angioplasty, but he is out of danger. The BCCI president had on Wednesday visited Eden Gardens and discussed preparations for the upcoming Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy with the Cricket Association of Bengal President Abhishek Dalmia. Other office bearers of CAB, including Secretary Snehashish Ganguly and Joint Secretary Debobrata Das, were also present at the stadium. Earlier this week, Ganguly had also cleared the air about him joining politics ahead of West Bengal Assembly polls next year. He had stated that he went to meet the state's governor upon invitation. If the governor wants to meet you, you have to meet him. So let us keep it like that, said Ganguly. West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar on Sunday met Ganguly to discuss various issues and agreed to visit Eden Gardens on his invitation. Those are the stories for today. We'll be back tomorrow with the midday updates, so stay tuned.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk.